Every woman deserves to feel vibrant, safe, loved, and feel her power. The Woman's Vibrancy Code podcast is here for a potent use of your time. We will cover energy, hormones, and libido with episodes that also dive into entrepreneurship, money mindset, feminine power, and much, much more. Introducing Maraya Brown, Yale and functional medicine trained women's health expert, midwife, mom, and entrepreneur.
All right. We are live. Maraya Brown here. Welcome. Certified nurse midwife, Yale and functional medicine trained, turned online women's health expert. Let's chat today about one simple solution that can literally help increase energy, increase libido, help increase and stabilize metabolism, address mood, feed your adrenals, address hormonal instability, help with increased stamina, help with immune health. Can you believe it that there could literally be one thing that could address all of this? Healthy bones, increasing muscle mass so that when you're working out, you're actually putting on muscle mass. This is a secret in the realm of anti-aging and healthy menopause and healthy fertility. So first of all, for anyone who knows me and has been in my space much, you're going to know that there really isn't just one answer. There's never just one answer. Okay. I believe in a multidisciplinary, comprehensive approach. And so that means for all of those things that I just listed, we're going to address it from nutrition, supplementation, mindset, energy, trauma release, right? It's all relevant. It's all important. And if you're looking for just like one place to start, what I want to talk about today is DHEA. Okay. It's not a hormone. It's a precursor to a hormone. In the United States, it's actually available over the counter. You can just buy it over the counter, but it's not a supplement either because it's not a mineral. It's not a vitamin. What happens is our body takes cholesterol and then it converts cholesterol to something called pregnenolone. And then from pregnenolone, it goes to either progesterone, which then goes down to cortisol and stress hormones, right? Or it turns into DHEA. So too much information for now. What I want you to know is DHEA is the precursor to estrogen and testosterone. Okay, so for any of you who've been in this space a little bit, we know that estrogen has a huge impact on our energy, on our mood, on our hormones, our stamina, our bone health, our experience of menopause, our experience of fertility, our experience of aging. Testosterone as well, right? Testosterone and estrogen both are going to play a huge factor in our libido, vaginal dryness, vaginal pain, stamina, our ability to actually reach climax, okay? So DHEA is the precursor to estrogen and testosterone. Now, I want to say I am not your provider, okay? So I'm not saying just go out and add DHEA, but I do want to tell you a little bit about what DHEA is and some of the various things that it can do, and I can give some general suggestion around where to start. But what I want you to say is make sure that you're finding a provider who is looking underneath the hood, ordering the right tests. In my scenario, when I'm working with clients, I want to look at the Dutch test so I can look quantifiably at what your DHEA levels look like, as well as a 24-hour cortisol curve and a cortisol awakening response. And let's look at where is your estrogen and your progesterone and your testosterone, and how are you metabolizing those out of your body? Because there are some scenarios where if you just add DHEA, it can do more harm than good. Okay. So like I said, this is not medical advice. This is not treatment protocol. Okay. So what I want you to know is DHEA is a hormone precursor, and it actually comes from our adrenals. For those of you who have maybe heard about adrenal fatigue, the fight, flight, or freeze response, right? Our adrenals play a really important role, and particularly for women. Okay. For a woman who's ever been on pharmaceutical contraception, hormonal contraception, we're now learning that the pharmaceutical-based progesterone, for some reason, sends the adrenals into hyperdrive, and we produce cortisol, and we lose that negative feedback loop. If you've listened to my podcast where I interviewed Dr. Sarah Hill, we talk a lot about that. In the realm of women in their 40s and 50s, they're now going into perimenopause and into menopause. And what happens is as the ovaries start slowing down, it's generally the adrenals that take over the brunt of that work. Okay. So the adrenals are producing cortisol. That's one that we think about often, but DHEA is another one. You may have heard me talk about the HPA axis, the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the adrenal axis. Okay. This is all important. And hopefully, as you stay in my space, you're going to deepen and continue to better understand what role the HPA axis is playing in our thyroid health, our fertility, our experience of menopause, our mood, our energy, our metabolism, all of that. Okay. So, like I said, when we look at the Dutch test, we're going to be able to see our DHEA levels. I want to point out, I'm not saying DHA. Often people say, well, DHA, you mean like EPA, like the stuff that we get from our omegas and our healthy fats? That's a different conversation. Okay. So yes, DHA is also important. That's coming from all your healthy omegas, your nuts and seeds. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about DHEA. Okay. And DHEA has been shown to have direct impact on our stamina, our libido, because it's going to help increase the conversion to both testosterone and estrogen. Okay. Plus, it's helping to feed our adrenals. So it's going to help in reducing a bit of that stress response and giving the adrenals a little bit of extra love and care. Okay. Which then might mean you're getting better sleep in the evening. One cool thing about DHEA is it's 1/20th as strong as testosterone from an androgenic standpoint. Okay. So why do we want more testosterone? Testosterone, like I said, is going to help muscle mass. So if you're working out and all of a sudden you're finding that the same workout isn't resulting in feeling lean and actually putting on muscle, often the testosterone levels are going down. If you're not sleeping well, sleep is one of the main times that our bodies produce testosterone. This is for both men and women. Okay. If you're all of a sudden finding a lack of libido, a lack of energy, a lack of arousal, okay, the nice thing about adding in DHEA is it's a subtle way to kind of coax and boost up that testosterone level. But if you've been diagnosed with PCOS, you don't want to be adding in testosterone or DHEA or maca powder for that matter. If you are a woman who has increased hair along your mustache line, along your jawline, cystic acne, maybe extra hairs around your nipple, you're noticing yourself putting on extra abdominal weight, that can sometimes be excess testosterone. It can sometimes be that your adrenals are needing extra love or you're drinking too much alcohol. So I'm not going to say blanketed, don't take DHEA if you're noticing yourself putting on more weight around the abdomen, but it is a reason to find someone like me where we can look under the hood and really take a peek at what's going on with your hormones and look at your Dutch test to see if maybe some extra DHEA is helpful. So what I want you to know is that all of us have DHEA. It also spikes right before we ovulate. Okay. And it is at our peak by age 30 for both men and women. And then after age 30, it exponentially drops each year. And by age 70, we're at 20 to 25% of what we had in our early 20s. Okay. So yes, you can see DHEA and testosterone through blood as well, but we're not seeing how it's being metabolized. Okay. So that's why I mentioned the Dutch test. There's so much that I could talk about. I wanted to talk about testosterone metabolism, but I think that that's too much for today. So one thing I want to bring up is DHEA can be taken in supplemental oral form. Okay. If you live outside the United States, it's not quite as accessible over the counter, but it is accessible. Okay. So all of my clients in Canada and UK, we get a little bit creative. For women, if you had early hysterectomy, early menopause, if you're 44 and beyond, and you're noticing vaginal dryness, changes in vaginal pain, there's a lot of research around topical DHEA put on intravaginally, and it can do wonders for vaginal dryness and pain. One other thing I want to mention regarding that DHEA, it's a pretty steady hormone throughout a 28-day cycle, but there is a spike when we ovulate. And so when I talk about different ways to move our bodies based on where we are in an infradian rhythm in a 28-day cycle, I mentioned that when we're in our ovulatory time, right? When we're in our summertime, if we're going to look at it from seasons, that's the time to be doing heavy weights, right? That's the time to be running the marathon. That's the time to be out doing the big activity, partially because DHEA and testosterone are there, as well as the estrogen, to help support the body's response to that. Okay. Whereas if you're in your fertility years and you're in your PMS week or in your bleeding time, or if you're no longer bleeding and you're in your winter week of a 28-day cycle, that's when these hormones are actually lower. And so you don't want to do heavy lifting. You can actually increase the propensity for injury. Okay. This is not the time to do high interval training, because hormonally we're not set up for the body to be able to respond. Plus, we are putting more stress on the adrenals when we're trying to white knuckle it. Even though we're feeling tired, we have more aches and pains, we don't feel so social, right? We're in that, like, right before we bleed and in our bleeding week. My friends, that is the time to tone it down a notch. Okay. That's not the time to lift heavy weights. Yes, still move your body if you feel motivated and inspired to do that, but be a little bit more gentle on your body. Okay. From a fertility perspective, there have been some nice studies out there. There was one study in women who had poor response to ovulation stimulation. They received high doses of DHEA. Now, high dose in this study, it was 75 milligrams daily. Generally, for women that I see, we will usually start with more like 5 milligrams once a day, and then maybe 5 milligrams twice a day. Maybe we're going to up it up to 10 milligrams based on your response and what your Dutch test shows. But in this study, they received 75 milligrams a day, and they had higher rates of embryo quality, spontaneously became pregnant, and better healthy birth outcomes. There's also been a study in anti-aging and longevity. This had 280 men and women. They were 60 to 79 years old, receiving daily DHEA as compared to placebo. They had elevated estrogen, testosterone, and DHEA levels, which then means that converts to less brain fog, better metabolism, more energy, higher libido, better bone quality, stronger immune system, right? All of that, because DHEA plays a factor in all of these things that I'm talking about. So like I said, why not just add DHEA spontaneously or randomly? Well, if you already are struggling with estrogen dominance, or you have high testosterone, I already mentioned PCOS, I mentioned some of the symptoms of high testosterone, you can do yourself more harm than good. High testosterone too high can put you at risk of cardiovascular outcomes that aren't so great. Okay. Estrogen dominance, if you're someone who has menstrual migraines, breast tenderness, you have a strong family history of estrogen dependent cancers. I mean, there's so many different things, fibroids, any of those things that in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, we have to worry about estrogen dominance. And you start adding in DHEA. Now, remember, DHEA is the precursor to both estrogen and testosterone. You can do yourself more harm than good. One other really cool thing about DHEA in that kind of cascade of how our hormones are produced in the body. Remember, it all starts at cholesterol. So my friends, cholesterol is not all bad. We want healthy cholesterol from the form of, nuts and seeds and healthy fats, right? And cholesterol goes to pregnenolone, to DHEA, and then DHEA generally goes to estrogen and testosterone. Ironically, it can also convert to progesterone. And so it's one of those really creative, fascinating hormone precursors that can kind of uplift our overall hormonal well-being. Since I've been taking DHEA, oh my gosh, it's been a game changer. In the last year, I would say, maybe even 6 months, I added in Praeria mirifica and DHEA because of the results of my Dutch test and how I feel on a daily basis and where I am currently in my body at age 44. And it has been striking. It has been striking in my stamina. It's been striking in my libido. It's been striking in my mood. My PMS symptoms have drastically decreased. It's striking for me. And I'm watching it on a regular basis, right? I'm now going to start playing around with not just taking it every single day of a 28-day cycle, but seeing if I can dose it specifically based on certain weeks of my cycle. That's my scenario. So what I want you to know is, yes, this is one simple solution. And My preference is that you're seeing someone who's giving you a personalized approach, looking underneath the hood from a functional medicine peak, right? So that we're looking at your gut health and your adrenal health and your thyroid health and your mental well-being and your energetic well-being and your foundational feelings of safety, right? Addressing old trauma from both a physical, emotional, and mental perspective. Okay. So you could see how if you've already been diagnosed or you have a predisposition towards estrogen dominance, or if we look at your Dutch test and your estrogen is being metabolized down the not so great O2 pathway, and I have concerns about your estrogen level, then I would not want you to add DHEA. Like I said, if you're going to see a provider and you can look at your Dutch test and you don't have estrogen dominance or testosterone dominance and you don't have excess DHEA and your adrenals can use some extra support, then you're starting around 5 milligrams once a day, sometimes up to twice a day. And then you want to redo the labs, right? We want to watch it. And in my opinion, often women are told, here's some hormone replacement therapy, okay? Your estrogen is low, your testosterone is low, here's some bioidenticals, here's some pellets, here's some hormones. I don't think that that's the best first step. Okay, maybe once you've gone through plan A and plan B and plan C and plan D, then we can start talking about some hormone replacement therapy. And it's not all bad, but there are so many things that you can do, my friend, with your diet, with your supplementation, with looking underneath the hood and addressing the foundational cause. Right? Is it that you're not eating healthy fats and your cholesterol is low? Okay. Is it that your gut, you're struggling with leaky gut and you're simply not absorbing the nutrients from this amazing, organic, expensive food that you're buying, right? There's a lot that we get to look at. We get to look at the HPA axis and your thyroid and how your thyroid is doing, your stomach acid levels. It's all relevant. And I wanted to make sure that I could at least share this because DHEA is a lovely, lovely thing for many. I work with women. So for many women to add, it's also helpful for men as well. And, as you're doing this, you also are going to start looking at how is my blood sugar management? How is my stress reduction? What am I doing to make sure that I'm getting better sleep? Okay. Am I getting ample protein throughout the day? For many of us, if we just simply increase our fruits, vegetables, berries, protein, and fiber throughout the day, okay, within an hour of waking, stop within 4 hours of going to bed, don't go longer than 3 to 4 hours without eating, and get ample protein, you'd be blown away at what difference that can make. Adding in your adaptogen elixirs, you hear me talk about these all the time. Please drink them often. For some, adding in extra vitamin D as in dog and magnesium and exercising for your cycle, a methylated B complex, overall inflammation reduction, right? So I don't want you to think that this is just going to solve all your problems, but I also really wanted to hit home that DHEA is kind of one of those secret things that many people don't hear about and don't know about. And it's powerful, once again, to help increase energy, increase libido, help address vaginal dryness, vaginal pain, help ramp up metabolism, address underlying mood like anxiety, irritability, depression. It helps support your adrenals. It helps your underlying hormonal well-being, helps increase stamina, helps support healthy immune system, helps support bone health, is known in the realm of helping with fertility and anti-aging, right? For healthy perimenopause and menopause. Okay, I think I've gone enough for today. I hope this has been helpful. I have been so happy to be adding in DHEA into my own body and would love to hear from you. This is one of those, let me know. Was there any ahas? Are you like, wow, nobody ever told me about this? Do you have any specific questions? Would love to answer them. And for now, Maraya Brown signing off. Yale and functional medicine trained certified nurse midwife turned online women's health expert. I have the Vibrant Life workshop and my flagship program called the Women's Vibrancy Code. And I help women move from exhausted to energized, balance their hormones, and feel turned on by their life, their lover, and themselves. Happy to serve, and ta-ta for now.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Vibrancy Code. Connect with us and take the first step to transforming your energy, hormones, and libido at thewomensvibrancycode.com. Cheers to your zest and vitality. Make sure to follow for weekly power-packed value.